If you're stuck like I am today, not knowing what to paint or where to start, but you know you need to do something to get you out of a slump, then you're in the right place. I'm going to offer you a surefire way to change your life today, and who knows, maybe forever. In front of me here, I have a set of Meeden paintbrushes, which they kindly sent to me to try out. And I've also got a pad of their paper, and I have a set of Kuretake paints. You're very familiar with all of this stuff, and I think one of the things I'd like to say about when you're in a slump and you're stuck and so on and so forth is two things. One, go for the familiar, and two, go for the unusual. And if you put those two things together, there's a good chance that you might come up with something, if not interesting, if not beautiful, then at least something colourful, let's say. So that's what I'm going to do today. Believe me, I have not had the best start to the day. I have many of these days, and there are reasons for it, which I won't go into because this is not the place. But I'm trying to make things work the same as you are. So let's do that. Now, everybody loves a new present, don't they? And you know what? For $20, you can get yourself a set of these brushes. There seem to be 10 brushes in here, and it's a good set actually, because I'm showing you this just simply because everybody likes something new. And I have just opened this box and found inside it, I've had it for ages. I don't normally use these brushes, but a couple of months ago, no, more than a couple of months ago, a while ago, we talked about these Meeden brushes, $20. I know they're Chinese, don't blame me, but they're actually pretty good. As a fan brush, this one I think would be quite good for painting the architrave on your door. I don't know quite what they were thinking of with that one, but anyway, I've got two flats and all these rounds, and let's give them a workout today, shall we, and see if they're any good. Why not? And piece of Meeden paper, can't argue with this paper. I'm not going to tell you how good it is. I use it every day, and of course it's not as good as Arches. There's a special offer on at the moment on in America on Amazon. They've got, I think it's about 45% off a travel pad of Arches watercolor paper. Can't say fairer than that, can you? But apparently it's not available in England. I don't know, I haven't checked about England. I'm trying to ignore that place. So let's find some water. And I'm going to first of all pick up the brush that looks like it doesn't belong in this set, and we'll see. This is a piece of 12 by 9 watercolor paper, and I just literally cannot wait to make it wet. You know, when you paint, sometimes when you feel like this is not the time, this is not the day, this is not the occasion when you are going to sit down and paint with great accuracy a cut glass vase, for example. No, I can't do that anyway. I couldn't do it if I wanted to, and I don't want to, but some people do it very well. But anyway, that's not what we're doing today, unless you actually want to literally send yourself completely mad. And of course we don't. So let's forget all about that. And I'm wetting the paper. I'm covering this piece of paper with water using this brush. Now that worked really well. I think that brush is perfect for that. And while I'm doing this, and I'm just gently stroking water into the surface of this paper, which is cold press watercolor paper, to get it to absorb it a little bit before I start, just sort of softening up the sizing that's on that paper a little bit. And then I'm going to look at my paint set here, my 48 set of Kuretake. I don't know whether I've got them all out. These ones here are from the Art Nouveau set. This one is quinacridone gold, which I've put into an empty pan, one that I used up. This is a little Meeden ceramic palette that you can buy, and in it I've got the remnants of some, I think this is hematite from Daniel Smith, some black, some phthalo blue, that's from Core, and when that hits the paper, it goes completely bonkers, sproing. So that's uncontrollable paint, that one. And around here, around the rest of the palette, I've got most of the rest of the 48 set. A lot of people have asked about this contraption here. This is just the lid to a Meeden Studio palette. It's just a plastic lid. And I just sit them all in there, hold them down with a little bit of blue tack and Bob's your uncle. And that gives you a space here to mix your paints in. If you don't have that, you have to use a separate palette to mix your paints in. So you can have them in the original box that they come in, these Kuretake paints, and then you just mix on a separate palette like this one, which works just fine. But for many, many years, I've painted with my paints around the outside edge of a tray. When I used to use only tube paints, I would put the colours around the outside edge and then mix in the middle. So I've got into that habit, and I'm finding it impossible to completely disregard that particular habit. The other habit I have, of course, that I haven't used for a while, and I think I will next, I don't know, maybe in May, is my little dishes, which when I first started the channel, that was what I used. I found that was the best way, because at that point I was doing lots of much more realistic and more sort of serious paintings. But I don't do that anymore because my life has become old and pointless and meaningless, and I get pushed out of the way at the checkout at the supermarket. Do you? Yes. People actually literally treat you as if you're invisible once you're over a certain age. Literally, I've actually literally had people literally walk into me as I was looking at something in the counter in our local supermarket. Needless to say, I'm not going back to that supermarket. I'm never going there again. I think it's about time we stood up for ourselves, don't you? Okay, so let's see what this brush can do, shall we? This is the largest of the rounds. This is a size 6. I don't know why they call it a size 6. It's not very big, is it? But anyway, never mind. Where shall we start? What colour shall we begin with? Shall we begin with something bright or something subtle? It's a good question. I'll tell you what, my favourite colour is quinacridone gold. And so I'm going to put some of that on then. Don't hesitate. Don't think too much about what you're doing. This is a time to play. And here we have the famous phthalo blue. Look at it. If you ever needed entertainment, this is the place for it. Look at it. Look at what this paint does. Yes, this looks like something like a cross between one of those what are they called? Platyhelminthes, the flat worms that we all learnt about in biology at school aeons ago. Looks like one of those. I think that's what that's called. And then it goes in. It's just amazing, isn't it? I'm not going to touch that. I'm just going to let that be, and we'll come in with a bit more orange down here and see what it's going to do. This is what's called in my book following the paint. Let the water do the work. Let the paint have its way. You never know what's going to happen. We don't want too much blue, so we'll add some more. I'm going to do the whole of the background in quinacridone gold and phthalo blue, just because. Just because, look at that. Just look at it. It's just madness. Wow. Spread that out a little bit. Time for some more blue. Woo! It's quite thrilling. And let's put some more here. I have some interesting art-based news to reveal to you. Soon, I'm going to be acquiring a whole new range of paints, which I'm going to be able to share with you, by a company called Jackman's in England. I think they're handmade. Made by Mr. Jackman. Mark Jackman is his name. And he has approached me and said, would we like to represent his paints on our YouTube channel? And I have said, most definitely yes, because they're beautiful paints. So I'm looking forward. When we get back from Egypt, I'm hoping that he's going to have them in the post to me soon, and then I'll be able to share them with you, and you'll be able to buy them from, strangely enough, Jackson's in the UK, or probably some of the American people like Blick and so on and so forth. I heard this morning from Chloe Rose on here that Joann's is closing, which I suppose is going to be a bit of a problem for a lot of people, perhaps people who tend to buy fabric and things like that from places like that. But you know what, in a way, I kind of think it would be good, because, I mean, maybe not really good, because people are going to lose their jobs and so on and so forth, but maybe it'll give the opportunity back to some of the independents to start up their own shops again. Wouldn't that be a good thing? Because these big companies, they do tend to snap up all the profits, don't they? Okay, so now we have a mixture of quinacridone gold, and just break that up a bit, and phthalo blue, and what I'm going to do, rather than sit and watch it dry, I'm going to put the hairdryer on it and just dry it, and then we'll come in over the top. That was the best bit. That was the most exciting bit, because, you know, you're not trying to do anything specific. Okay, so that's dry now, and obviously, I think it is probably true to say that it needs a lot of dark over the top of this, and something that I find actually really rather less challenging to do for myself is leaf shapes. So I'm going to I'm going to take indigo and just make it as dark as I possibly can, and then add it with various amounts of water to the paper. And what will happen is, depending on how much water there is and how you place it in your leaf, you'll get different effects. So if I make it pretty loose, I get all sorts of streaky kind of movement like that. And that's quite interesting. And then by contrast, we can have next to it one that's pretty thick. See this brush? It's got a nice point to it. This is just this very cheap. There was a time when if you didn't pay any money for something like a brush, it would be complete rubbish and you wouldn't be able to do diddly squat with it. But nowadays, it's not quite as bad as that, although I'm sure they don't last as long as my nice Drawwell ones do, which are handmade in Japan, and they're pretty good. So this is contrast here, right? Something that often beginners are a little bit afraid of, but which actually makes all the difference. And I think I have tried to indicate to people that do some kind of mad background and then just paint over the top of it with a neutral color like indigo. You could use black, you could use brown, you could use blue, you could use green, you could use anything. But don't use too many different colors, not necessarily anyway. So that's one branch there, and then we probably need another one coming down from here. So we'll put the indigo on top of the orange as well, and maybe make this one a little bit smaller, so a little bit further away. And you don't need to stress, just do whatever happens. And remember, the only wasted piece of paper is the one that sits in your drawer until you die, and there is no such thing as a mistake. It's all good stuff. I don't believe in mistakes. I mean, obviously there can be things that are wrong. For example, 2 and 2 doesn't make 5, but it's not a mistake if you say 2 and 2 makes 5, if you then acknowledge the fact that there might be a better answer, right? And we're going to embellish these after we've done this. We're going to come in with, do you like that expression? To come in with something. I'm not sure if I do, but I'm going to paint some littler ones down here, and we'll put another one over here. Start with a point, press down, do both sides, let the paint do what it wants to do. Okay, so there we are. That's kind of more or less. I think we probably just want another one up here, going off. That's not me snoring, by the way, that's my dog. Okay, I'm going to dry that because otherwise I might end up smudging it. Okay, so I'm going to put some gold on next, and what I'm going to use this time is some aqua bronze powder, which is from Schminke in Germany, and I've put some, it's about 4 scoops using my little palette knife here, and I'm going to mix that with a tiny bit of water, which will give me a nice gold paste. So let us find some water. I need a spray bottle. I think, oh, the spray bottle's over there. Okay, where is it? There we are. I just mix it up like that. It's amazing how things appear by magic sometimes. I feel like Fanny Craddock. Who remembers her and Johnny? What I need now is a nice glass of wine. And the glass of wine comes in from the side. And she said, oh, thank you so much, darling. You're such an angel. Right, so we don't know quite exactly how much water we're going to need, so we just keep adding it until we get a paste. I know this is a bit of a faff, but it's a fun faff, you know. Everything doesn't have to be instant, does it? I mean, look at instant coffee, for goodness sake. Is that an improvement? I know that this would mix more easily if I used a brush, but then I'd have a brush full of powder, wouldn't I? So, I know. Somebody out there is going to say to me, what you need to do is, oh, I don't know, go and live in Italy. How about that? That's a good idea. All right, I'll do that. That'll solve all my problems. I've been listening to some women from America, actually. You guys are very brave, some of you. That's one word for it. Going to live in France, coming to live in France. And I've been chipping in with my 10 cents worth and telling people, please be informed before you come. If you think it's all, you know, what's the word? Sunshine and roses over here? No. But then you run the risk then, don't you, of having some man, always, I'm sorry, I am going to say it, some man will chip in and say, why are you so negative? Well, probably because I'm a woman. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. There we are. Tamsin will probably cut that bit out, but I hope she doesn't. Because really, I think it's about time it was said. Anyway, so I was saying to this lady, I was just trying to be helpful, and I think she took it the right way. Do be careful, because France is a big country. It's not as big as America, of course. And the climate is very different from north to south, east to west, edges to middle. Basically, no French person ever wants to live in the middle. No French person ever goes on holiday to the middle, and I'm not kidding you. I know that because I live in the middle. The edges are where people want to be, and the prices there are 10 times as high as they are on the inner parts, and that's because the weather is better and there's the sea and all the rest of it. They love the sea, the French, they love the sun, they love to sunbathe and swim, nude, usually. So living around the edges is perfectly, very paradisical. Living on the inside is a bit different. They call it a medical desert. So don't come here if you need healthcare. No. Anyway, I think that's mixed up now. And what I'm going to do is sit down and I'm going to paint some circles like this and do some dots as well because that one came by accident. So I'll do some more circles. Put some circles in the background. Oh, look at that. It's like painting with gold. I need to hurry up, running out of time. I quite like taking circles off the edge of the paper like that. Like children painting the sun in the corner of the sky. Do let me know what you think. If you hate what I just said, do tell me in the comments below. And if you, and I'll try to be nice. And if you don't care, don't say anything. But yeah, a lot of people express their opinion on YouTube, don't they? It's definitely risky. There's one young woman, well, young, I say young, she's just coming up 50, I think. She's just moved to Ireland and she dared to tell everybody that. And she got called all sorts of names because she dared to go to the doctor in England. I mean, really? It is a dangerous place. Not England, I don't mean YouTube. Or England is too, actually. That's another story. Yes, all sorts of things are going through my mind at the moment that I may or may not regret saying, so I'm not going to say any of them. But did you see the news today? Yes. I was looking up the history of Greenland. It's very interesting, actually. I had no idea. Honestly, did you have any idea? I mean, whoever thinks about Greenland, I never have. I didn't realize that the Americans had basically been responsible for all of their infrastructure and everything. And so really, in a way, you can see where that might be coming from. So that kind of elucidates that a little bit. I feel a little bit more informed now. Quite like that, don't you? The gold on top of the blue. Okay, let's have another circle here. And one more here, and then I think I might do a few more dots. With any luck, by the time I get to the end of this painting, if I haven't died of starvation before that, I will have calmed down a little bit. But the thing is, you know, to tell you the truth, this is therapy, in my opinion. When you have a bad morning and everything seems to be going pear-shaped, to be able to sit down in front of your paints and just forget about it all, or, you know, not immediately forget, because what you need to do is process it. If you don't process it, it'll fester, a bit like a boil. So you have to get it out of your system. And if you spend almost all your waking hours and sleeping hours either on YouTube, in your studio painting, or looking at other people's paintings, reading what people have said, comments that they've left, and if your whole entire life is infused with online social media and so on and so forth, despite what you might wish for in your world, it's only fair, here is what I want to say, it's only fair that we as so-called creators should be allowed to use our own platform to talk about the things that we believe are important. So there. So for anyone who says you shouldn't be talking about anything except art on your channel because it's an art channel, I would say mind your own business, okay? Because I think it's only fair to say that we have the right to express ourselves, the same as Russell Brand does on his channel, you know, and anyone else like that. So there we are. It's one of those days today. This video won't be seen, that's for sure. And I don't care. But please, before you unfriend me, think about it. Think about whether what I've said makes any sense, and I think it does. Haven't finished yet. We need some black. Yes, we get some black pen. This is a Fudenosuke Tombow brush pen, black, nice and flexible. Hope it's going to work. It is new. The problem is this paper is, you know, fairly rough and doesn't actually, I need to dry it. It doesn't take ink very well. Well, if it runs, it runs. No, this is not the right pen for this paper. Let me find a better one, fatter and thicker and oh, I know, how about just a sec. We have a Sharpie. Ooh, smell of that. Now, I've never used a Sharpie in a piece of art before. This is the first time. But that actually does make a nice dark line. I do think it's funny how your mind wanders when you're painting. And, you know, I say to myself, I'll just use a Sharpie. And the next thing I know, I'm thinking about Office Depot. It's just awful. I used to work for them in Calgary. There might be somebody who's a member of our channel who might even remember me from back in the 1990s. I was the business service manager for the Business Service Centre in the downtown branch of Office Depot. And so I was behind the counter there, taking orders for business cards and printing colour photocopies when you couldn't do it yourself at home, remember? And all of that stuff. And yeah, worked with, there was someone there who was front-end manager. He was called Vince. And then there was someone who was my, there was Sharon who worked for me. Can't remember her last name. And there was, what was his name? Can't remember now. Oh, there were lots of people worked there, actually. And the manager was Mark Whalen. And there was Stan Kosh, yes. Stan, and then there was Vicky, and there was, it was actually, the people were fantastic. I remember we had Stampede breakfast parties and everything. We had to all dress up in cowboy gear and stand outside making breakfast for everybody when the Stampede was on. That was fun, yes. Hey ho, those were the days. Right, let's go for a narrower gold pen and do something with this, shall we? I don't know quite what. I think I might want to put some lighter coloured leaves in now and some slightly smaller ones. Let's try another one of these brushes, a little bit smaller perhaps. This is a number 5, it is a little bit smaller. So I'm not going to put a different colour in, I don't think. I'm going to take the indigo but dilute it down a little bit. And we'll just come in behind here with some more leaves. Tamsin, do you remember the time when they wrapped up the guy who was leaving in cling film? They had those big cling film machines. And, and then they rolled him out the front there. Could have killed him. Hopefully they left a gap for his mouth. I don't remember why they did that. Because he was a prankster and he annoyed everybody for years. And they took the opportunity to get their own back. I can't remember who it was that got wrapped up. I just remember it happening. So we're just putting a bit more depth in by coming in behind, so to speak. With some shadowy leaves, the same sort of shapes as the other ones, which are in the foreground. Hello, Oriole. Oriole's talking to Zen. Wouldn't it be funny if one of our followers turned out to have been in Office Depot or worked in Office Depot downtown Calgary? That would be really funny. So if you're out there lurking, say hi. Unless I let you down in some way. Don't tell me if I did. Don't want to know. Okay, so now I will go to the smaller pen and maybe we'll just spend some happy hours putting little dots in. And, oh yes, spirals. could go around the outside edges in a sort of winky-wonky kind of way. Is that Oriole eating somebody else's food?
Yeah.
Oriole? Just putting some veins in these background leaves. You don't see them very much, but they will give an additional amount of, what's the word, embroidery kind of thing. I do tend to think of these paintings as being something a little bit along the lines of tapestries, you know. And just keep building up, trying to think of different things to do all the time. This gold pen is really good, actually. It works quite well, even when the paper is damp. The paint underneath it is on the damp side. It's still working, and that's not necessarily the case with a lot of these pens. They give up at the first chance. I'm going home. Forget it. And I think I want to put, oh, I know. Yes, this is what we need. The white acrylic. We make some dotted areas. You can just have some lift, doing little dots like this. We're probably getting towards the end now. I think this is probably the final touch. It's often the case with these paintings that you kind of go on and you go on and you go on, and then all of a sudden you think, oh yeah, no, that's what I was missing. It needed that. This pen will do bigger dots than that. If you press down further, harder, you can get bigger ones like that. You don't necessarily want them quite that big, so I'll take that away. But, oops, oopsie. That's all right, no problem. So we'll stick with the small ones at the moment. But if you press a little bit harder, you will get a slightly bigger one. But we'll just stick with the little ones at the moment. This pen seems to be slightly less obedient than the previous one I had, which I used all up. That one used to make quite nice big ones. And then I want to put some circles inside these gold ones too. Or some spirals. And off the edge. Okay, well, I think I'm going to stop now because it's time for lunch. And I've covered every square inch of paper here. had a good rant. You can always turn me off if you don't like listening to what I have to say. You can turn me off, and you don't have to listen to me. Right, there we go. Give us a like and subscribe. Don't forget to turn on notifications if you want to see more of this kind of thing. And I hope you enjoyed that. And if you are really, really feeling stuck and, you know, down in the dumps or whatever, I suggest something like this is a really good way to get yourself back into the world of the living. So I'll let you go, and I will see you again soon. And thanks for being with me today. And take care of yourselves. Bye for now, everybody. Bye-bye.